All right, class, first off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So, this lesson is going to be about two of the biggest battles in the Civil War, and they just so happen to end on the same day. Okay, so let's see. So, the objective today, we're going to analyze the Battle of Vicksburg, we're going to examine the importance of Gettysburg, and we're creating an argument on why Vicksburg and Gettysburg changed the tide of the war. That's actually going to be kind of a little thing about your warm up. Okay, because that's your warm up question is you don't have a picture. Today is just a question. And that is, do you think one moment can change the tide of a war? Now, I had some students in class who were kind of having difficult with this question. And basically, what I'm saying is like this: if one side is winning, right? Do you think that like one moment where like I don't know, the side that's losing has like their back against the wall, and then they can, you know, change the tide of the war, go from losing to winning, or if like a, one person gets killed or a certain group of people get killed, that the losing side will then start fighting back and be able to win the battle. Or do you think like no, in order for one side to win, there has to be multiple things. You know, they can't be just one little incident, one little thing that changes the tide of a war. All right. So, what do you think? Okay. So, use the writing prompt. It's on the bottom there to help you out, guys. Don't be afraid to use it. Okay. And again, like I told everyone in class, and I'm telling you guys right now, be sure to answer this warm up question and the question at the end. This last grading period, a lot of you guys did not answer the warm up, didn't answer the question at the end, and you lost a lot of points because these are worth 5 points each, and that's 10 points, sometimes more. You know, sometimes I give you two questions for the warm up, you know, and sometimes these packets are only worth 20 points. So if you don't answer it, you got 10 out of 20 points, and that's a 50%. That's an F. So be sure you're actually answering the question and answering the question I'm asking you, and don't just write down whatever you want. Okay, because again, since you're not writing a response to what I'm asking, I can't give you credit for that because you're not answering the question. You're just writing down whatever you want, and that's not how it works. Okay, so be sure you're actually answering the question. Okay, so pause the video, write your response because we're moving on in three, two, one. All right, so we're going to be talking about the siege of Vicksburg. That was from May 18th to July 4th, 1863, in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Vicksburg is in Warren County in Mississippi. Now, if you notice those little numbers right there, those are the exact coordinates to Vicksburg. So if you were to go on Google Earth and type those in, it would take you straight to Vicksburg. Okay. Now, the leader of the Union Army was Ulysses S. Grant. Okay. And the Confederate leader was John C. Pemberton. Now, for the Union, um, they had a total of 4,900 guys, 4,910 die. For the Confederates, they had about 32,363 men die. For the wounded, the Union had 3,940, where the Confederates only had 1,938. Now, here's the interesting number about this battle: the Union had only 164 soldiers who went missing or were captured. The Confederates, however, had 29,620 soldiers either captured or missing. That's a huge number. That number almost equals to the number of people who died for the Confederates. So what happened? Well, you're going to find out today. All right. So the guy you see in that black and white picture with the hat, that is um, Major General Grant. Okay. Now, Later on, Grant is going to be the top general for the Union, but at this time he's not. He's like one of the guys that Lincoln's really thinking about as making the top general. Um, but he hasn't made the decision yet. Remember, General McClellan was fired for what he did when he let Lee go. Okay, now Grant, unlike Robert E. Lee, was considered the greatest soldier, perfect soldier, the way you want a soldier to be. Grant, however, was a total opposite. Grant, he got demerits all the time. He sometimes never made his bed. Clothes were sloppy, sometimes dirty. He would, you know, not do too well in class. So he got demerits all the time. And yeah, he graduated West Point, but he wasn't the top. He was more the lower bottom section of the graduating class, but he still graduated. Okay. Now, the other guy, that's Pemberton. And basically, Grant just kicked the crap out of Pemberton throughout Mississippi, here, until Grant basically, in a sense, kind of cornered him in Vicksburg. But Pemberton actually kind of wanted to go to Vicksburg because Vicksburg was well fortified. They had the town's in the middle, basically, and they have these massive walls with cannon, all around. Um, to the south area of Vicksburg, it was like swamp land, And any guys who've ever been on a beach, where the water's up to your knees, it's really hard to walk, let alone run in that type of water, and that sand and stuff like that. So same thing with these soldiers. If they were to go through that area, they'd be stuck, in a sense. And to attack Vicksburg head on, away from the mud and stuff like that, that was basically a suicide mission, you know. But Grant said, "Hey, let's do this. Let's attack." So they do. They lay siege to Vicksburg, and the thing is, it doesn't work. Okay, because again, the walls are around like this for Vicksburg. They got the swampland down here, and behind them they have the Mississippi River. So it's not like they can go around them. The other thing is though, Grant is trying to find a weak spot in the walls. So he's sending men, boom, 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 here, on this side, on that side. And again, he's not finding a weak spot. The walls are pretty good and, they're able to repel any attack. So Grant's like, you know what? Fine. If they want to stay there, let them stay there. He basically orders cannon fire to shoot at them. And not only that, the Union has ships on the Mississippi River, and so they're sending cannonballs from the Mississippi and on land. So cannonballs are coming in, bah, 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 bah. Excuse me. But the thing is, um, Vicksburg is right in the middle. Okay, the town of Vicksburg is still safe. It's not getting much cannon fire hitting it. Now, being well fortified is all great and dandy, but it also creates a problem in that which if you're fortified right here and your enemies are surrounding you, basically you can't get supplies, you can't get fresh ammunition, you can't get food, fresh water, things like that. So what ends up happening is a lot of these soldiers who are in Vicksburg, they start fighting with citizens. And yes, there are people living in Vicksburg, and these soldiers are trying to get food. So they would try to sneak into people's homes, steal food, go into their gardens, try to take, potatoes or carrots or whatever's there. And the citizens would be fighting off the soldiers. Now, it got to the point where some soldiers were actually fighting back against these civilians. And Pemberton and the other guys were like, hey, what are you doing? What's wrong with you guys? And they're like, sir, we're hungry. We need food. He's like, yeah, I get you. Okay, we're gonna do rations. And if you don't know what rations is, it's basically like you get a loaf of bread, right? And you cut it into 4 sections. and one piece is going to be for one day, another piece for another day, that's another piece for another day, and the last piece for the last day. You know, you're getting food and you're stretching it out. Thing is, are you going to be filled up for a whole day off a little piece of bread? No, you're not, right? That's the bad thing with rationing. It is like, yeah, you're making the food last a little bit longer, but ultimately, people are going to be hungry. People are going to be starving. Now, the Union soldiers, the guys on the outside, right? Some of these soldiers were realizing, like, have you noticed that there's no more dogs barking? Yeah. And you notice too that, there used to be a bunch of guys on patrols with the horses, and now there's only like one guy with the horse. What happened to the dogs and the horses? And some of you guys have already got the idea of what's happening to those dogs and horses. And you are right. Now, Pemberton realizes, okay, we're eating our animals. We're basically starving to death. So he tells Grant, hey, we're going to surrender to you. Okay. But you got to be able to take care of my men. And Grant's like, okay, well, how many men do you got inside? And Pemberton tells him, about 29,000. Grant's just like, wait, whoa, 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 whoa. What? He's like, yeah, I got 29,000 guys. I need you to, when we surrender, we need you to feed them and take care of them. And Grant's like, I don't have enough food to feed 29,000 men. I barely have enough for my own guys. So he's thinking, like, what could I do? What could I do? Oh my God. And it hits him. Bam. He says, all right, if you surrender, hand over your guns, your gunpowder, your bullets, all that good stuff. If you turn that into us, we'll give you a little bit of food. You know, if you're injured, we'll take care of you best we can. But you guys will be on parole. And a lot of these soldiers are like, what do you mean by parole? He's like, when you turn in your stuff, you'll get a little bit of food, and then you can go home. Okay, just go home. Now, of the 29,000, how many of them think how many do you think agree to that terms? And if you said all 29,000, you're right. All of them said, okay, fine. So they gave their guns and stuff of that. They got their little bits of food and yet, if they were injured, they got that taken care of. And the thing is, Grant did this because he wanted them to realize, like, what are you dying for? What's the purpose? You know, and some of these guys did not have slaves. They didn't own farms and stuff like that. So they're like, I almost died. I almost starved to death. So that some rich jerk can keep his slaves and make more money. And what do I get out of this? Pride? Forget that. I'd rather be alive and be with my family, taking care of my family, than, oh, I'm gonna die for my pride and for my this. No, why? No, 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 no. So some guys went home and that's it. They just that's all their time in the war was. Some guys did turn around and join up again. But again, a lot of guys really did reflect on their experience and were like, yeah, I almost died. I killed my dog or I killed somebody's horse to eat so that I wouldn't starve to death. And I almost starved to death. So yeah, it did work for the most part. Okay, so Pemberton officially surrenders July 4th, 1863. So the siege of Vicksburg, the winners are the Union. Now here, really quickly, here's the map of Vicksburg, as you can see from the picture here. Vicksburg's right there. The red line you see is the walls. Um, so you can see where the cannon fire from the blue side will be coming in. Um, it's not really going to hit the town. The town was pretty safe. Now the Battle of Gettysburg. That went from July 1st to July 3rd, 1863 in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Okay. Now the Union leader was Major General George Meade, and the Confederate leader was none other than General Robert E. Lee. Okay. The Union, they lost about 3,155 men. The Confederates lost a little bit more at 3,903 men. The Union had about 14,529 men wounded, and the Confederates had quite a bit more at 18,735 wounded. Now, the captured or missing are almost exact the same. The Union had 5,365, whereas the Confederates had 5,425. All right, so here's the thing. Lee wanted to attack the North again. Now, this time it wasn't for, oh, we're going to do this with a pride, this and that. I lost the first time, I'm going to try it again this time. No, basically what happened was this. Um, the North had farmland. The South needed that land, that farmland, to grow their own food. Because the thing is, in the Southland, they were growing crops like crazy. As soon as they picked the fruit, picked the vegetables or whatever it was, they planted another crop right away. For those of you guys who don't know, that's bad for the ground. Okay, because the thing is, the ground is basically, think of it like a person, like you. You're playing a tough basketball game or a hard football game, right? You're getting beat up, getting knocked down, things like that. You're running as fast as you can, things like that. At the end, you might be tired, exhausted, hurting a little bit. And all of a sudden, imagine someone saying, "Oh, you got to go back and do that all over again." There's another game with another set of players. You know, you have to go out there and perform. You might not be as good. You will not be as good as the first time you played, right? You're gonna be tired. You're gonna be exhausted. You might push yourself to the end, but you're going to be even more exhausted. And that's how the crops are too. When you plant them and then plant again, they need time to get their nutrients again. That's why a lot of farmers, um, when a crop is done, they'll let the grass grow, they'll let cows and whatever animals eat the grass and, poop there and stuff like that, so that the ground gets those nutrients again and stuff like that. Okay. And if the crops don't get their nutrients, they don't grow as big. They're small. They don't have the flavor, and it's just not good. Okay. So that was one of the reasons why. The other thing is though, um, he just wanted to hit Pennsylvania pretty hard. Specifically, he wanted to get to the heart of the Union, which was Philadelphia. The city of Philadelphia holds a lot of sacred things: the Declaration of Independence, you got Independence Hall, Liberty Bell, things like that. That's where our first capital was in Philadelphia. So for the Confederates to take a hold of Philadelphia, that was huge. And he figured, if we can't get Philadelphia, we could at least get Harrisburg, which is the capital of Philadelphia, or Pennsylvania, sorry. Now, thing is, the Union knew, hey, Confederates are planning to do this. Let's find them. And they actually ran into each other in a small little town called Gettysburg. All right, so day one. The Confederates are on the north side of Gettysburg, right? The Union is on the south side. And when the Union finds out, hey, they're right on the north side of Gettysburg, the soldiers run through the town. Rah! They're pumped. They're ready to fight. Citizens are watching them run, going, heck yeah, look at those are our Union boys. Go get them, boys. And then, like, an hour later, those same guys are running backwards. Oh my God. And they're running. And then the Confederates are now chasing them with the same aggression. These people in the town are like, what's going on? The Union, you guys had the momentum. You had the toughness. Why are you guys running away? You know, and they ended up in the south side of the town. And this is where those of you guys who know Star Wars, you're a fan of it, you may know this phrase, and that is that the Union had the high ground. Um, they were up on this hills on the south side of Gettysburg, and they basically set up camp there. Now, day two, both sides got all their guys as much as they could, right? And they're fighting, they're clashing. The Confederates are basically trying to break the lines of the Union because what we're trying to do is break through, right? Create a hole and then separate this side, and then their soldiers, the rest of the soldiers can come right in the middle and go wherever they needed to go. Okay, so that's what the thing is. They wanted to bust a hole. Um, the Union held their lines on day two. Day three, Robert E. Lee's like, you know what? Let's just do a full on blitz, you know, which basically, if you don't know football terms, is you get the linemen, right? And you basically bring all of the guys who are typically at the front, the linemen, and then you bring out the linebackers and you bring out the safeties. So they're all going to basically rush at one time and try to get the quarterback. Okay. That's what these guys are trying to do. Break that line, get behind, and then disrupt the other groups, fighting. So at Cemetery Ridge, 12,500 infantry soldiers tried to bust through the line of the Union, and they're fighting, they're charging. But again, the Union doesn't budge. Now, Robert E. Lee is hearing how many men are dead, how many are wounded, and he's like, how much land have we taken? None, sir. And they're not retreating, not right? Nope. So Lee's like, okay, let's retreat. Let's go back to Virginia. There's no point of trying to win this battle when we're losing like crazy. So his second attempt to take the North has completely failed. Now he's lost twice, huge battles, and got defeated easily and pretty bad on both of them. So now people are starting to see Lee as like not this invincible man as the legends have been telling about him and things like that. Now it's kind of seems like, well, we can really kick his butt, you know? And it just so happened the day that he retreats is July 4th, 1863, the same day as Vicksburg. Now, here is my question to you. Think about being in the same situation as those people in Vicksburg. Do you think you would ever get to the point where you would kill your favorite pet so you could eat them to survive? Okay. Before I used to have this question say, would you, kill your family's pet? And some students were like, oh yeah, I hate that dog. That's not even my dog. So now I'm like, well, what about your favorite pet? Whether it's alive or dead right now, if it was, let's say it was alive, okay? It's in its prime, it's happy, it's at its healthiest, and things like that. Could you kill that animal, kill your favorite pet, so that you could survive? Why or why not? Okay. The writing prompts on the bottom there that help you out. Okay, but tell me, like my favorite dog I ever had was my Chow. His name was Bear. I don't know if I could do that. That's my favorite dog, you know. And again, I hear students all the time, yes, no, and so I want to know what you would do. What would you do in that situation? You're starving, and it's just you and your dog or cat or whatever your favorite pet is. Could you kill them and eat them so that you would survive? Okay. So right when you're done with this question, you're done with this lesson. So hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Um, for those of you guys who watch this video at home, be sure to write down the historical tweet part in your folder. Okay. If you don't have that, let me know. I will get that for you. because again, that is mandatory. The exit ticket. Okay, and it says a historical tweet. So again, you would be using what you've learned today about a person from this lesson, and they would be writing a tweet. Okay. So with that being said, guys, you take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later. Okay.